pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have full row of board members. Everybody's here. Mr. Bond, I see you're here. We have everybody, so your input will be greatly appreciated, but your vote will not count tonight. Thank you. Okay, just to let everyone know, if they don't know, that 125 South Greenbush Road site plan and 155 South Greenbush Road properties will not be heard tonight. They've asked for a postponement to review our consultants' traffic studies, and I think they're looking to come back possibly at the either the end of October or the beginning of November. So they will not be heard tonight. So if anybody's here for those two applications, they will not be heard. Okay, moving on. First agenda is PB 20-39, Onyx Management, Amazon Delivery Center plans. Okay, who's here for that?
Good evening. This is Daniel Patrick from the law firm Cuddy and Fader.
Hello, Patrick.
I'm here on behalf of Amazon. I am joined this evening by Jeff Desort, our engineer, Tarun Sonkia and Michael Kelleher of Amazon, and Seth Mandelbaum, Nicole Vasquez, and Matt Flath of Onyx Management. If Jeff Desort can share his screen, just so I can reorient the board. I know it hasn't been very long since we've been back, but just to put things back in a visual perspective for you.
Gene or Cheryl, could you give me permission to be able to share my screen, please? Thank you.
Are you good, Jeff?
I got it. It should be popping up here momentarily. Okay. Should be seeing a picture of the site plan.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay. So as you recall, we were here a few months ago. We received site plan approval on July 8th of this year for work related to Amazon's proposed delivery station at 200 and 400 Ortani. We are here tonight requesting amended site plan approval for some minor technical amendments to the plans, as I will let Jeff go into more detail in a few minutes. Those changes include revisions to the stormwater management design and the inclusion of a new retaining wall. The new stormwater management design is now being proposed as an underground detention system as opposed to an above ground detention system as was previously approved by this board. The amended stormwater management design will still provide the same quality and quantity mitigation as this board previously approved, and will also comply with all the town, county, and state requirements. Amazon is also still including the catch basin inserts, which we previously proposed as requested by this board to achieve the desired oil and water separation. With regard to the retaining wall, it will be an approximately 122-foot long retaining wall. It will stand between 2.5 to 5.5 feet tall. It'll be located between the Associate Drive and the van loading area where Jeff is pointing at right now. As I will let Jeff show in a minute, we also have provided the site diagrams, or the line of sight diagrams that this board previously requested with regard to the actual building itself. And as shown on those diagrams that Jeff can show in a few minutes, as he's going to ask him to walk through and provide a little more detail about why this is required and the engineering reasoning behind it. But the line of sight diagrams do show that the retaining wall is not visible from the property line. So we're not expecting any aesthetic impacts to be created. So that's just a brief overview of the amendments that we're here for approval of tonight. I will turn over to Jeff in a moment, but as as indicated, we're hoping to, obtain approval for these amendments. They're very technical in nature. We don't think they change the project or the site significantly. We are also asking that this board waive the need for this application to be referred to the ACABOR. It's our understanding that the retaining wall would require ACABOR approval, but in this instance, since the remainder of the site has already been approved and these changes are rather minor and will not be recognized or noticeable off-site, we think it's appropriate for these minor improvements to not be referred to the ACABOR if that board feels more inclined to waive that. So I will turn over to Jeff right now and ask him to go over a little more detail about the proposal and the reasoning for these two changes.
Great. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, board, for taking the time to hear our proposal. So as Dan mentioned, the two major site amendments or revisions to our approved site plan are in regards to the stormwater management system as well as the retaining wall. For the stormwater management system, originally proposed was an above ground detention pond that was located in the southwest corner of the building in a grass area. It was in this area here where the original pond was to be placed, and that was going to be an infiltration pond that the stormwater for the site was going to flow to that pond, discharge and fill up. Then it would, as the pond filled, it would then not overflow, but would be piped to the existing detention basin that's on the site. Due to the geotechnical analysis that was performed on the infiltration, as well as some minor changes in the grading of the site, the above ground detention basin was no longer a feasible option for us from a sheer volume perspective. We just couldn't get the amount of volume that was needed to meet all of the local, state, and local, county, and state regulations in regards of water volume and water quality. So our alternative was to redesign and install an underground detention basin. Hydraulically, the underground detention basin acts the same way as an above ground pond. All the water is going to flow to sheet flow from the site to catch basins. From the catch basins, they'll enter into an underground detention system, which I have a picture of. It's a storm tech system or made by ADS. And so here's a picture. It's a arced chamber, plastic chamber that's buried in a bed of gravel and connected by pipes, plastic pipes. And then as the water flows into the catch basins that have the inserts for the water quality and for the oil and water separation, then they'll flow into these underground chambers actually it'll flow first into what they call an isolator row. And that isolator row provides additional water quality and water quality measures by trapping any type of floatables or anything like that that might enter into the system. So it'll actually go into that isolation chamber. It collects there and won't have the ability to leave. And that would be a maintenance thing that is part of the maintenance and operation plan that is required by the town and that needs to be signed. And then a regular maintenance of that would occur to take out any type of floatables or built up sediment that might occur. From the underground detention system, the stormwater will again flow from there to the already existing detention basin that's on the southwest corner of the property. Detention basin is located down here. If I go back to the overall site plan, you can see here's the above ground detention existing stormwater management facility. Water is going to flow to the underground system, and then from there we'll exit out to the existing facility. Again, so all of the water volume, the quality, all of the actual metrics that need to be met in terms of the code and for the state, the city, or the town and the county are all still being met. It's just really a different means of treating the stormwater or different means of holding the stormwater. And again, that was due to the grades and the infiltration rates that we had received when we had tested. The town engineer has made a recommendation that, again, infiltration rates be completed for our new underground detention system in that location. We have done that. We have submitted the results of that infiltration that confirm our assumptions and confirm the design that we have proposed and is in front of the board, that the infiltration rates and the groundwater level in that location won't adversely affect the design. So basically what we have is a design that's we've confirmed works and is doing everything that it's supposed to do. The next piece is that retaining wall. And I actually have a picture here of just basically kind of a rendering of what that wall would look like. So it's again, it's a 2.5 foot to 5.5 foot total height wall. That wall is running along this drive aisle. It's a separation between the drive aisle and the loading area that's up on the top of the hill. And from the color drawing here, you can see one, we have taken, or we're using a unilock Concord wall is what's proposed with the color Sahara color to match the architecture and the color scheme of the existing building. And then here's a cross-sectional view. You can see at the bottom here would be the drive aisle. It will have a wall. On top of the wall will be a handrail for pedestrians, sidewalk, and then the 10-foot board-on-board privacy fence that was previously approved by the planning board. Looking at the line of sight, we've adjusted this exhibit to show the max height. We're showing the max height in this case, 5.5 foot proposed retaining wall. And you can see if a person at 6 foot height is, with this red line, is viewing or trying to view the retaining wall, they're actually going to hit the ground before they can see anything. They're going to hit the berm and the bank of the detention pond. So they're actually not going to ever be able to see this. The only people that would be able to see this wall are those that are on site. And I would say that those that are on site would see that it complements the architecture and the color scheme that's already present. Again, this line of sight, this is not changed from the previous approval. And as Dan said, it's the total length of the wall is proposed. It's about 122 linear feet that go along the back of the curb of that drive aisle. So, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have regarding the stormwater or the retaining wall.
Okay, is there anything else?
No, I believe that's all we have. Those are the changes being
Excuse me?
proposed. So no, those are the changes that are being proposed. I don't think there's anything else that we want to
Okay. Okay, then let's get into the consultants' reports. We have Jane Slavin's September 21st letter has 2 items, but Ms. Slavin, you have said on the bottom that ACABOR review and approval is required. Is that going to be necessary, being that the wall cannot be seen off the property?
Mr. Chairman, that is a typical comment, and there has been times when the planning board has waived those requirements. So I think the
Okay.
presenter did a good job of demonstrating what the wall will look like.
Okay, because I know the applicant had said something about that. I wanted to just check with you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, dated September 2nd. He has 18 items. Okay, any questions on those? Okay. Bruce Peters, September 23rd. Drainage review recommendations. The proposed action has provided significant drainage information that demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the DXY4- delivery station site plan be approved for drainage, subject to the above project comments, of which there are 4. Okay, Rockland County Sewer, dated May 26th, just saying that they do not object to Orangetown Planning Board serving as lead agent, and that the project does not affect the district sewers. And we have a memo dated September 18th from Michael Betterman, Chief Fire Inspector. Fire prevention has no comments in regard to the underground detention system. And that's all I have. Is there anything else, Cheryl?
No, that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
No comments, Mr. Chairman. Also, if Director Slavin doesn't have a problem bypassing Akabor, neither do I.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
Yes, just a couple of quick questions. The retaining wall, what was the reason for adding it now rather than when you first submitted?
Mike, your voice is very garbled. I don't know if anybody else heard.
Not again. It was clear before. Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay, Mike, I'll repeat. I can hear you. I'll repeat it. His question was, why is the retaining wall being shown in this application and it was not shown in prior applications?
Sure. So the reason behind that is when we had made the switch per the previous application to put in a proposed building addition versus the building canopy, after we went through and we're doing the fine-tune grading of the plan in order to meet all the conditions of the board, what we found was there were some grades that were undesirable to enter and exit the building. And so the best mitigation to that was to put in a nice looking retaining wall that allows pedestrians a safe place to be able to not have any interference with any traffic, as well as being able to meet those grades so that it's a more desirable grade from a driving perspective.
Okay, second question. Regarding DEME #2, you said that you had spoken with them regarding the determination of groundwater elevations. Is that the 3 things he asked for there was the soil borings, the perk test, and determination of groundwater elevations. Have they been completed yet?
Yes, they have been.
Okay. And I have no objection to bypassing Akabor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple questions. With the retaining wall, you're saying it's between 2.5 feet and 5.5 feet high? Is that the, and then there'll be and then the 10-foot fence will be on top of that?
That's correct. The board-on-board fence is on top of that. Yes.
Oh, good. Will that rise and fall with the elevation, or is that the 10 feet max, or will it be, or in some places it'll be 15 feet? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So the 10 foot is just it's a standard 10-foot board on board, and that'll go along with the grade.
All right. And yeah, I have no problem with the Akabor waiver since it's not a big impact and the neighbors can't see it. So that's my only comments.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of questions. First of all, I believe your existing detention basin, maybe you can straighten this out for me. Does that have a micro pool and a 4-bay, or is it one of the older style ones?
The underground detention system?
No, the existing one, where you're sending all of this, the existing detention basin.
The existing detention basin is a wet pond. So it wouldn't have a micro pool or a forebay.
Wetland? Now, I remember when that was built, it wasn't a wetland, I don't think at the time. So it's become a wetland. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a wet pond.
Wet pond. Okay, you said wetland. Okay, I understand. All right. Maybe that should be sufficient. On your sheet, I try to look at it here. C7.4. In the upper left-hand corner of that, you have your oil separators and your debris removal system there. You see them? I don't know if
Yep.
they're on the right page.
I'm trying to pull them up on the page here.
C7.4.
Yep. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, in the upper left-hand corner,
Mhm.
you're showing, which is nice. I don't see any dimensions on this. I assume it's standard size. I think it would help if it had some dimensions on this. And is it indicated on the plan that all of the proposed catch basins will have this system in there?
Yes, yes, sir. The plans that are directly upstream, or I'm sorry, the catch basins that are directly upstream of the underground detention system have the snouts installed, and those are called out on the utility plan.
Okay, as long as it's clearly indicated, I don't have trouble finding that detail. Next question I have for you. This would be sheet C5.7.
Okay.
Okay, these are the construction details of what you're proposing to put in there. Is that true?
That's correct. The storm tech system.
Okay. I think what would help is if you had a clearly marked larger scale overall plan, maybe an inch equals 30 or whatever you need to do to show precisely what's happening. One other question, obviously, is do you have any maintenance schedules for cleaning out the oil and debris separators?
Yeah. So the standard snout units or the Enviro hood units, they come with their own standard operating procedure and maintenance program that's built in from the manufacturer. So those manufacturer brochures and maintenance plans would be included into the stormwater operation and maintenance agreement that has to be signed by the landowner.
All right, next question. It may sound kind of odd when I initially ask it, but it may make sense after I get your response. You're having a lot of vehicles there. Now, how many of them are dedicated Amazon vehicles for the direct delivery, like small minivans? Or how much of them are independent vendors who you'll be hiring? Do you have any idea?
I would probably defer to Taryn on the numbers of the vans specifically.
Can he answer that? Is he-
Yeah, I know we had provided this number during the previous round. I don't have that detail in front of me. If you give me a few minutes here, I can try to pull that up.
Okay, well, what's more important? What are the approximate ages of the vans that you're providing?
Did you say approximate number of the vans?
Yes.
I'll have to look it up. I don't want to throw out the wrong number. So
Okay.
yeah, give me a minute. I can look that up and get back to the board.
Okay, just to let you know where I'm going with this, so it'll make a little bit more sense. I know your company is making a big push to put in electric vehicles, and I see no indication here of any electric vehicles. And I just want to make sure that Orangetown isn't the area where you put all the older vehicles and put the electric vehicles in other communities.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and that's a broader question. So the way the electric vehicle program is going on right now is we have ordered about 100,000 of those vehicles, and they are in manufacturing right now. So none of the delivery stations that we are putting in anywhere have those vehicles yet. There are a couple pilot sites in California that we are just testing out for like the electric charging and stuff like that. But again, like I don't have any details right now on how many will be allocated to any particular delivery station. That just depends on when they come in.
All right, well, just as a longer term heads up, I think we would like to see that we're not the last community to get the electric vehicles, to get rid of the problem that we would have, even though it's not that great for many of the exhaust from your existing vehicles. Final question I have is have you given any thought to possibly putting in a solar farm on the property? Because that seems to be a way you seem to be going.
Could you repeat that question? What are we putting?
Are you going to put up a photovoltaic system there at any point in time? Or is that nothing that you've considered at this time?
I'm actually having a hard time understanding what system is it, Jeff. Do you know what system Mr. Dell is talking about?
Yes, I believe Mr. Dell is asking about if Amazon at any point is proposing to put solar power or a solar farm on the property.
We don't have any plans for that yet. At least to my knowledge, we don't have any plans of putting solar panels on any of our delivery stations.
Yeah, and if in the future that does come up, we will surely go through the town's process for review of.
We understand that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Final thing, I don't think I also would be in favor of this not being reviewed by Akabor, not only because of the line of sight, but because the distance from the property line and the fact it's like a de facto campus situation. And you've certainly gone out of your way to see that what you're putting in there matches your building and is, from my view, more than aesthetically pleasing for what you have to do. Okay, that's all my questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Andrews?
Just a couple of comments. The wall looks really, really good. I'm in favor of waiving Akabor. And I really like the idea of the underground water retention center as opposed to above ground. So it looks really good. Thank you, gentlemen. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, thank you. I agree with the comments of others. And I also think that I don't see a need to go for Akabor for approval. I have no other comments this time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Bond?
I'm okay with it. I don't see any reason that they have to go to Akabor either, so.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this? Okay, one more time. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make any questions or comments on this application? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public.
Motion to close the public portion, Mandel.
Mr. Mandel makes the motion. Okay, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew seconds. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to ask if there's any no votes. If there's any votes. Hearing none, it's unanimously passed. Okay. What they're here for is to reaffirm CEQA and to amend the property with the underground detention system. I'm going to start with reaffirming CEQA. Can I have a motion for lead agent?
Motion for lead agents, Mandel.
Okay, Mr. Mandel, lead agent. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew seconds. Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, all approved. Okay, a motion for reaffirming CEQA.
Motion for reaffirming secret, Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew seconds. Okay, is there any opposition to it? Okay, hearing none, that's approved. So basically, I think the only thing we can do now is, I think it's just to leave, give them preliminary, I'm not sure. What's the town attorney? Can I have some, or Jane, either one, can I have some input on this?
Two things. Number one, they had asked for waiver of ACABOR. That should be voted on. And I believe they're at final right now. You should vote for final.
That's correct.
Okay, even with, well, going back to Mr. Peters' number 2, and he keeps bringing this up, and I kind of felt if we stuck to it last time, we wouldn't be in this situation now. But he wants that these tests shall be performed prior to this proposal receiving final approval.
I did speak to Mr. Peters about that. He did inform me that he doesn't mind if they get final, just that the plans can't be signed off on until all the conditions are satisfied.
Right, now I understand that, because I talked to him about this too, something else, and I brought this up, and he says, well, that's why I put it in there, and he said, and so, but if you talk to him and saying that he's willing to let this proceed into final, as long as that all the conditions are filled, and then I think we have no problem with it, then I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a motion for final with conditions. Do I have a motion for final with conditions?
Motion for final.
Tom gives motion.
Okay, who was that? I don't know who it was.
Motion for final with conditions. Mr. Chair, I think they answered it, that they did do those 3 tests that were required by Bruce Peters.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I can confirm that the 3 tests were performed. The results of those tests were submitted with a memo noting that the assumptions that were made and the design that was put forth was more or less confirmed by our tests, and that the results of that and the memo have been sent to Mr. Peters.
Okay,
Motion for final with conditions, Mandel.
okay. Mandel makes a motion for final with conditions. Okay, Jane Slavin, September 1st, has 2 conditions. Does the board wish to waive the applicant from going to ACABOR?
Motion to waive ACABOR,
Who said who made it?
Mandel.
Mr.
Andrew
Mandel?
seconds.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
Andrew seconds.
Okay, Andrew, second. Okay, good. Now I could see everybody. I was just looking at the plans before. Okay, do I have any disagreement on that in respect to them going to ACABOR? Is everybody in favor of it? Okay, I see no opposition, so everybody's in favor that they can bypass ACABOR. Thank you. So, but Jay Slavin still has 2 conditions. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering. Excuse me.
One
somebody-
condition.
Oh, I need a second on that, that motion to override the ACABOR review. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Okay, Andrew, second. Okay, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No opposition. Okay. So Cheryl, are you with me or am I messing you up?
I got everything. No
Okay,
problem.
thank you. Okay, Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, September 2nd. He has 18 items. Booker's September 23rd letter has 4 items. Rockland County Sewer has 2. Michael Betterman, September 18th, has no comments. And that's all I have. Okay, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. Do I have all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No opposition. Okay, you got your final. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Right, you
Thank
too.
you.
Okay, thank you. All right, other business. Don't go anywhere, anybody. Okay, there's only one item, and that's the Orangetown Shopping Center charge station. They want to amend PB 20-33 Condition 4. I just had it here. Okay, and that condition is, number 4, is a chain link fence shall be installed on the easterly perimeter of the parking area by CVS and continue to the transformer complex. The fence shall match the existing fence on the rear of the lot. Is there anybody here from Orangetown Shopping Center?
Yes, Julia Ingram is here as well as Marissa Gideon. We're both from Kimley Horn, working with Electrify America for these charging stations.
Okay. Why are you asking to have that condition waiver?
Yes, we contacted the property owners and they do not wish to add a fence there due to snow removal.
So apparently, during snow removal, that's where they stockpile the snow. And apparently when the fence that previously was there, it either blocked their ability to push the snow in that area, but they're saying that it'll affect their maintenance during snow.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Mandel, questions or comment?
We put it in there. I don't think we should be removing it based on that. But I want to hear what the other people of the board have to say. Thank you.
Well, the only thing I'm saying is if we do make them put it in there, they have no place to put the snow. Right now, they're pushing it over the edge and it's still on their property, but they're getting it out of the parking lot. And if we put a fence there, they're going to wind up destroying the fence.
Mr. Dell has a comment on that. He's raising his hand.
Yeah, I understand it. I'm going to get to him. I was just going down the line. All right, let me go to Mr. Dell. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, sir. Okay, first of all, there was not a fence there at any time. The distance you're talking about is about 30 to 40 feet. It connects to the existing fence that's there. They have a loading dock there, and they're going to have a charging station. So you're telling me, and also to the drive-in area, they're going to push the snow through the drive-in between the loading area and the area where the charging station is? I don't think so. I should have no problem. They have a big site, and I think this is a rather specious argument known of the site in the last 50 years. It also is a security problem because of the nature of that fence, et cetera. And right now, with that, you'd have an even barrier, so there wouldn't be any potential problematic activities back there. But it's just a simple, it's a short distance. They have plenty of places to put the snow, which they've always managed to do. I've never seen them put snow there in all the years I've been there. They would not go by the drive-in. They would now have this very fragile charging station, and that 30, 40 feet are going to plow snow over the hill. I find that more than a little difficult to believe in terms of a practical matter. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Andrews.
I believe this fence should stay. It was us who had them put it in there. I'll wait to hear from the public if there is any before I make any more comments.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. I don't think I was at that meeting, but who put that condition in? Was it the board?
Mr. Dell did.
All right.
Recommendation.
And that was for safety reasons for the site? Who am I
Okay, Mr.
talking
Dell, we
to?
can't hear you. Mr. Dell, we cannot hear you.
Yes, that is true, among other reasons. But yes, definitely that.
Okay.
But now with that charging, so it's problematic.
All right. Now, I guess, who's answering? Julia, Ms. Ingram?
Yes.
Now, what did the property owners, what was their excuse that they didn't want the fence?
They were going to use it for snow removal, is my understanding.
All right, that was where they were gonna just put the snow if it piled up?
Yes, like that was where they're gonna pile or like plow that section of the parking lot and put the snow there, since the new chargers are here.
All right. I guess I had to agree with the safety aspect of this fence. So that would be my comment. I think if the fence was put in as a condition of safety, I can't go against that. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sweeney?
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question for Mr. Dell. Can you remind us what the safety concern is?
All right, well, I'll say it again, sir. Among other things, it's a fairly steep slope in case you have anybody walking in the area. But the bigger problem, because then people would have a tendency to walk down that steep hill. But also, too, because of the nature of the site, the whole back area is fenced in, and it could provide an ingress and an egress that would make it an area of congregation, which could be an issue. But the biggest problem here that we have, it's about approximately, I believe, 30 feet from where the loading dock is to this charging station. So or maybe total 50 counting the loading dock. And you also have the drive around in there. And to be plowing snow over the edge of that, when you have the rest of the parking lot, it seems like a rather specious argument. The other thing is, you would also give additional potential safety protection for the charging stations themselves, in case anyone was thinking in terms of any vandalism, etc. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that answer. I'm not sure I share the same concerns, but I will let the rest of the board speak.
Okay, Mr. Young?
I have no issues with what's already in place. I have no further comment.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bond?
I don't really understand what the benefit is to the homeowners behind there of not having the fence. So maybe the applicant could explain that to me. Why wouldn't the applicants want the fence?
You're asking about the site host not wanting the fence? I mean, we looked at some previous aerials and it did look like there was a fence there, and some of the aerials showed that the fence was leaning or about to fall over. But I don't live there, so I'm going based off of what they're telling us, that this is an area where they place their snow, or they plan to place their snow. And the applicant doesn't have a concern about the security concern or pedestrian. If I look at the area, it really isn't a pedestrian. It isn't an area where it's sidewalk, or it's a drive-through area. So it doesn't appear to me to be an area where there would be heavy pedestrian traffic. But again, I'm not living there to notice if that is the case or not. But like I said, the site host doesn't have a concern, a security concern for their own site. So, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, just an historical note. The fence was approximately 50 years old that they're talking about. And the board agreed because of the nature of it, that it should all be replaced. And for some reason, they didn't want to continue at this last little bit of distance. I think there's still a little of the existing fence that's there, which the applicant representative was referring to. That should obviously all be replaced, and that's what we talked about last time. If it's a 50-year-old fence and we're replacing it because it was in terrible shape, you might as well finish out the last 30 feet. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this? One more time. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, hearing none, I have for a motion to close the public.
Motion to close public portion, Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Andrew
What?
seconds.
Okay, Mr. Andrews, okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna go one at a time, and I'm gonna ask each member what their feelings are, whether
You
to.
need to vote on closing it.
Oh, okay, a vote, I'm sorry, thank you. Is there any one opposed to not closing the public session? Okay, hearing none, the public session's closed. Okay, we're gonna have a roll call in respect to what we want to do with the fence. Mr. Andrews, do you want the fence in or out?
In.
In. Mr. Andrews is in. Mr. Mandel, in or out?
In.
In. Mr. McCory, in or out?
In.
In. Mr. Dell, in or out?
In.
Mr. Sweeney, in or out?
Out.
Mr. Young, in or out?
In.
Okay, and Mr. Bond, I'm sorry, your vote doesn't count. And I say in. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in, 1 out. So that condition stays.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will discuss with our client and the site host.
What month? September 9th. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mandel, motion to approve.
Mr. Mandel makes a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew, second. Thank you. All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
Any opposition? None. So, okay. Cheryl, you got your minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, could you please mention again that the other project was postponed? There seems to be a number of the Greenbush Road project, because there seemed to be a number of the public still on the meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry. I mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting. If you didn't hear it, I'm sorry you stayed here, but 125 South Greenbush Road and 155 South Greenbush Road, those two applications have been postponed. They will probably either be heard at the end of October or the beginning of November. I'm sorry you stayed all that time, but I had mentioned it right at the beginning of the meeting. Okay, Ms. Slavin, anything else?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, before you close,
Mr. Mandel, go ahead.
just want to remind everybody that the financial disclosure and gifts and favor forms are due by October 1st. Please get them in. Would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Did everybody hear Mr. Mandel? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close the meeting, Andrews.
Mandel seconds.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Thank you all. Have a good 2 weeks.